we're seeing increasing attacks and increasing sophistication. I'm sure none of you would disagree that we've got a larger attack surface that we've got to protect than ever before. I saw a statistic there recently that every UK connected internet user has, on average, 3.1 devices. So that's a lot more devices that we've got to protect than 15 years ago, when all we had was a laptop or a tethered PC. Then we've got the move to the cloud, with people beginning to use things like Amazon Web Services and infrastructure as a service. And then we've also got our own users who are bringing cloud-based, consumer-driven applications into our environments, and they're moving perhaps your important data out of your organization into these cloud-based storage services. Additionally, we're seeing that the threats are more sophisticated. So the attackers, they've got a vast underground criminal economy that they can use to plan their attack on our organizations. For example, there are malware as a service and services available where you can get 24/7 support to create a threat that's going to attack your organization. And what we find is with all these resources available to the attackers, that sometimes the attacks are more coordinated than the defenses that we put in place to protect our organizations. So it's time for a security transformation. The way that we see things going is to take a synchronized approach. And here what we're doing is we're taking a horizontal approach to integration, and we're having our endpoint security on your desktops and your phones talking to your network security at the firewall. And what this does is make everything much quicker. We can automate the correlation of alerts, we can make much faster decisions, and accelerate the time to protect, accelerate threat discovery and incident response. So using an analogy again from real life, if you were trying to secure physically an estate, you'd deploy a number of security guards. So perhaps you'd have one security guard who's walking the corridors, sitting at the reception desk and taking care of what's going on inside your building. You might have another security guard at the gates to the estate, and he's going to have his barrier, and he's going to stop or allow people coming into the organization. Now, one thing you can do to really improve physical security here very quickly is to simply give these two security guards walkie-talkies so that they can communicate one with the other. And what this means is if somebody sees something inside the organization, he can quickly let the other security guard know, and he can then go on a heightened sense of alert and do something about security. And what Sophos is recommending with synchronized security is that we do the same thing on our networks. So we get our endpoints talking to our heartbeats, so sharing information, our endpoints talking to our firewalls, using a heartbeat to share information between those two security devices. And what this gives us is a much quicker way of finding threats to the organization. We can rapidly find anything that's been infected on your network. We can determine the source of that infection, and then we can do something about it. We can respond to that incident. So we can isolate that compromised machine so it can't do anything further. It can't begin sending your data outside the organization, for example. And what this does is it really reduces your window of vulnerability to threats. So with the old approach of using an incident management program or manually correlating logs, it could take a minimum of 2 hours to find the threat. With a synchronized solution, we can do it in less than 8 seconds. And this has been validated by an independent analyst, and that we can do this so quickly. So what you're doing is you're taking your window of vulnerability from hours or perhaps weeks down to a matter of seconds. So you can fix the problem on your network within seconds.